Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Trap Chat Summer Reset, owning your growth, your glow, and catching your light. I am coming to you live from the future today. I have with me the incomparable Dr. Melanie Peacock. For those of you who don't know, if you can see on her shirt, she loves HR, has been doing it over 30 years. She is the head of Double M Training and Consulting. Her expertise is in roles as a senior manager and independent consultant. She is the author of one of the best fiction books out right now. HR Can Be Murder. So if you don't have that, pick it up. We're going to talk about it a little later. So we'll give you another touch point that you can think about that. Now, I'm going to run down some of her accolades, but I do want to give her an opportunity to big up herself during our conversation. So I'm going to go as quickly as possible. So Dr. Melanie, I'm going to have a hard time not calling her Dr. Melanie, even though she told me to just call her Melanie, but I like Dr. Melanie. She is recognized for her outstanding contributions. She's received the HRD's 2020 Lifetime Achievement Award at the Canadian HR Awards. She has led the way as the first woman of color in different leadership roles and is committed to illuminating pathways for more dynamic and inclusive opportunities for members of marginalized groups. Like I said, all the way from Calgary, where it's raining like it is here in the DC metro area, is Melanie Peacock. Welcome.
Thank you, Kirsten, and thank you for that wonderful and kind introduction.
No, you are she's one of my favorite Twitter friends. We don't call it that. We don't talk about it. Some of us are still there on that platform formerly known as Twitter. And Dr. Melanie Peacock is one of the folks that I have connected with for now years back. But this is actually our first time ever getting to meet in real life. I want to jump right in. You have transitioned from corporate HR to consulting, teaching, and now fiction writing. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. As we hit this mid-year checkpoint, what old narratives have you chosen to release? And then what new stories are you writing for this next chapter?
Kirsten, that's such a profound question, and I thank you for it because it's so true, isn't it? Bless you again. Oh, wait, I should do the Seinfeld. Maybe not politically correct. You're so good looking. Right? When someone sneezes, I'm a big Seinfeld fan. Oh, can we say that in HR? Oh my God.
We can.
Yeah,
this is a safe space.
There we go. There's some narratives that we choose to release, right? And it's a great segue as to how we are confined by boundaries. It's like, oh, can we do this? Oh, can we say this? Oh, is that appropriate? Of course, we always want to consider being respectful and appropriate and boundaries and understanding things. But sometimes those boundaries can be limiting, and they limit ourselves, in my humble opinion, and they limit other people. So here I joked with you, oh, can I say that? I know when I used to teach students about harassment of any type, and, I'll just give you a quick example. And we'd say, somebody would say to me, does that mean you can never look at somebody and never say anything nice to them again? Like I said to you, oh, can I say, oh, you're so good looking. And I said, well, I'd rather have someone say that to me than, like you said, you liked my I Heart HR shirt, as opposed to saying, oh, you look horrible to where have we lost some decency, some common decency? And then I would share with my students, Kirsten, we all know, if someone says to you, you look really nice today. Thank you. As opposed to, oh, you look really nice today. How you doing? Right? That's what I'm talking about appropriateness and boundaries and respect. And, we can confine ourselves so much in our thinking, in our actions, in our words. And so some of the narratives, to answer your question, you asked for whether you got the news. Here I am on this long train of thought. But some of the narratives that I'm releasing is being more than simply a title of what I do, and being able to open myself up to possibilities. I'm not a big fan of New Year's resolutions. So last year, what I do every year is set a word of the year. And last year, 2024, my word was possibilities. And my word for 2025 was explore. And you see how they kind of, I'm realizing when I think a little deeper about it, Kirsten, they link, they have certain things in common. They illuminate certain things about our willingness to be a little more open to the universe. And at this mid-year reset, as I think about my exploration and all that continues to be ahead, it's very exciting, and the last thing I'll say is I have a very good friend who always used to say to me, you never know. And I think that's very profound, right? Because I would be so certain that this is going to happen or this wouldn't happen, or you never know. And that's part of that growth and capturing light and resetting and letting old narratives go.
I love that. We have just had a masterclass with just the first question, exploring possibilities and releasing those constraints and those boundaries that are holding us back. Like that will help a lot of us rewrite our next chapters. So thank you for that. Want to again give you props because throughout your career, you have broken barriers as the first woman of color in various leadership roles. As we are still thinking about these summer resets and rewriting narratives, how did you learn to trust your own voice, trust and own your voice and your vision when you were often the first in spaces that weren't always ready to accept you?
So one of the things in reflecting about this that I've done, and this is by God's grace and by good fortune, I've surrounded myself with a good team. And by team, I mean friends, family, co-workers. I'd love to say, oh, I've been able to do all of this on my own and I've been confident and, really able and willing to jump into the deep end. No, this is really because of other people, having the right people around me, who can reflect that belief and confidence back to me. That's the first thing I would say, is that you really have to have that positivity. And I know I'm using some cliche words here, Kirsten, but, getting away from toxicity, because there'll always be the naysayers. There'll always be the people that say, no, you can't. The other thing I would say is that I'm a very resilient person. I like to describe myself now. This is going to really age me or date me. You did say I've been in HR for over 30 years. What a blessing.
You started when you were like, 10, like me.
Yeah, 10, that's it. Yes. 10, that's it. Yeah, no. I remember as a child, any of the people joining us and remember this, the little Bobo the Clown toy, it was plastic and you fill it with air. It was like a little punching bag. And, it was for exercise and getting rid of some of that childhood hyperactivity, which of course I didn't have, right? I wasn't, oh my gosh. Anyway, so my parents gave me the Bobo and I would punch it and it'd pop back up and punch it and come back up. And it was fun. And I sort of describe myself as a little bit of a Bobo. I get knocked down, but I bounce back up, right? I get knocked down and bounce back up. Now, just like Bobo, you need the right amount of air. You can get deflated. So you have to learn to refill. Bobo had to be refilled with air every now and then, as do all of us. But I think it's that ability to bounce back too. Because when you do anything in life, but particularly when you're the first to do something, there's going to be some knocks. And you're going to get knocked down. And you have to be willing to bounce back up. So how do you do that? Well, one, you make sure you refill with air. So that's, again, the rest, all the cliche things, but they matter. The breathing, the time away, whatever fills your air, right? Whatever fills your Bobo the Clown, whatever makes sense for you. There's all sorts of different things for people.
I love that. I'm sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I'm going to say that's a great segue to my next question. But if you weren't finished, please finish your thought.
Yeah, well, just that ability to reset, and even that understanding of, while you never know, you can expect realistically to get knocked down at times. You can't think it's going to be a smooth ride. Yeah. And just understanding that so that I'm not totally surprised when things went awry. Or when I felt a little deflated. This has turned into quite the analogy. But I would say I felt deflated at times or a little lost at sea. So also taking that time to think We do a lot of things in our lives, and that ability to step back and think and reflect also helps when you're the first to do something.
I love that. Still a great segue. So, in those moments or those seasons of change, as I like to call them, where you're resetting, recharging, reimagining your impact, or even if you've been deflated and now you need to get the air back in. I don't even know what the right word for that is, but I think people understand. Yes. Pump yourself up. Yes. How do you build and nurture authentic relationships during those seasons?
Yeah, it's a lot of vulnerability, and I'm still working on this. I'd love to say, "Oh, I'm so good at this," and I'm not. It's a skill I want to continue to develop, but that ability to ask for help, that ability to show genuine emotion to other people. I know throughout my career, I started my career in my second full-time corporate role in human resources was in oil and gas, which is typical for somebody coming from Alberta. And I remember, and this was again, many, many moons ago, a very senior person in the company who was trying to be a good mentor and was really believed they were being helpful when they said this to me, said, you're not going to progress as well as you could in your career because I think can do so many great things, but you need to be less smiley. You need to dress more like a man, pin your hair back. Like these are things that, and I thought about that and I thought, no, it's not like I walked around all cheerful all the time, because as we all know, human resource management has its ups and downs. As I always like to say, I take my work seriously, but not necessarily myself. But that's my genuine nature. When I see someone, even a stranger, I will tend to smile. That's who I am. And so being authentic, but then working on being vulnerable to actually show emotion or to show, again, nice, circular conversation we've had within appropriateness and within boundaries. We have to remain professional. But to me, professional doesn't mean leaving your feelings at the door. And there are times I have cried at work, not like a full-blown, I've lost it, but when I'm dealing with someone who was ill, I teared up. When you have to deliver bad news, when you have to when you have the privilege of sharing in or delivering good news, that's what I'm talking about, authenticity and being vulnerable enough to ask for help when I need it. A journey I am on, and I share authentically that I'm still trying to get better at.
I'm glad you said that because I'm not much younger than you, so there's still remnants of that in terms of women in leadership having to be more masculine or present in a way that we're used to traditionally, which is in a more masculine way, or because men were leaders, this is how they act, this is how they speak, this is what they do. And I was thinking about a situation where someone was delivering bad news, and I was very close to my direct manager at the time. We are still good friends, and it's a gentleman, and he brought us into the room because we knew we were doing layoffs. And he brought the whole team into the room. He said, I'm going to have to lay some of you off today. He was like, but I wanted you to hear it from me first. And he was so upset. And then he went in his office and he was like on the floor, like in a ball, like crying, and all I could think of, but this was now I'm thinking about it was very selfish, but I was like, he's going to lay me off. I was, and it wasn't because, and that was, like I said, it was selfish of me. Because I would think like, oh, he can only feel this way for someone that he has a personal, connection to, as opposed to the fact that, no, he just is a good person and he's expressing how he feels about some news that he is not happy to deliver and that he's hurting folks' livelihood, and it's not an easy thing to do. So I reflect on that a great deal because like people make fun of him, you're like, oh, he's acting ridiculous, and I'm like, can't tell how you can't tell people how to be, but they wouldn't have said that same thing if it was a woman. the women in leadership, who, by the way, they were also very sad. And, there have been situations where women have had to deliver news and they were crying, and no one thought anything else. No one thought anything about it. But as soon as a man cried, it became this big deal, something we had to figure out and understand why he was doing this. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah. And again, it's about boundaries and
yeah,
accepting people where they are. One of the stories I share, and it's a terminating someone's employment story. And I remember this and sitting there with the manager and delivering the news. And this was 25 plus years ago. And it was in my head. The person that we had given the news to got up, walked across the desk and walked towards me. And I thought, oh, I didn't know what to expect. And he grabbed me by the shoulders nicely and just said, clearly, this was very difficult for you. And I'm thinking, oh my God, because I didn't cry, I didn't fall apart, but I was very humane. And it was obvious that I was not, well, we have some news to deliver to you. It was genuine. And he said, I want to thank you for being so compassionate during this difficult time. Which takes me, Kirsten, to very early in my career, a woman who is no longer with us, but remained a mentor to me forever. In fact, you can see a little pink behind me in the chair. That's her shawl. I keep it with me always. Very early in my HR career, she said to me, you're going to be great in this field and in this profession. And I said, well, thank you. And I looked at her why? And she said, because you care. She said, you cannot fake caring. And caring doesn't mean your inability to understand profit, your inability to understand business operations. In fact, I always say to people, I'm a businesswoman who specializes in human resource management. I understand businesses. I understand about making money. Companies have to make money in order to employ people, in order to give back to the communities that they serve and work in. So I'm all about that. It doesn't mean I'm flaky, for the lack of a better word. But it's that understanding that you can still care and be very professional. And we don't talk about that. We don't like to talk about that. You pick up business books, there's not a lot of talk about emotion or caring.
Unless you're reading a book about EQ or something, and even then it's really,
it's focused on a topic, right? I'd love to see more talk about head, heart, EQ, understanding the caring quotient woven into all business texts.
I agree. Well, that might be your next book. No pressure. No pressure. Let's shift just a bit. As I mentioned at your introduction, you have received incredible recognition, including Lifetime Achievement Awards, but you've also maintained a commitment to lifelong learning for yourself. How do you hold yourself accountable for continuous growth while also celebrating your many successes?
Yeah, I was so honored to receive, thank you for mentioning that, Kirsten, the Canadian Lifetime Achievement Award. And actually, when I received the award, first I received an email because they couldn't reach me by phone. They tried, whatever. It was like, oh, likely spam or whatever. I was like, I'm not answering this. When I read the email, I thought, is this a joke, right? And then when it came to fruition and people were saying, well, you're too young to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award. And I'm like, well, thank you. But that's the whole truth, right? A lifetime is reinvented and revisioned now. And so that answers your question about how I keep my commitment to lifelong learning. Is a lifetime can be in little segments and chunks. Like, for example, a couple of years ago, I voluntarily retired again, even though people said I was too young to retire, from my full-time tenured faculty position at a local university. But I knew that I had given all that I could to that. And I realized I do so from a position of privilege. Not everybody can choose when they leave a position like that. And so I tell people I haven't retired. I'm reinventing and reimagining, because words matter, right? That's another thing that I have learned over the years, is how we speak to ourselves, the tapes we play in our heads, how we speak to other people, how we allow other people to speak to us. Those words matter. Another one of my favorite quotes is, the meaning of the words isn't in the words, it's in us. And we could go in a huge, boring doctoral analysis of hermeneutics. What would she say? I don't want to, but I'll leave it with that words matter. And so my commitment to lifelong learning, I'll say one is very intrinsic. I've always been a curious person. I've always wanted to know more. When I can't understand something, my friends and family will tell you it frustrates me. Right? I want to understand, why does that happen? How does that work? Even as an academic, look, I love research. I love theories. I have so much respect for the people out there doing that work. But I always called myself a pragmatic academic, which also didn't make me very popular in many circles, because I would listen to what someone's research said, their thoughts, their concepts, and then I would ask, not in these words, but my words that I'll share now is, so what? Like, what do we do with that? How do we make the work world better? How do we make people's work experience better? How do we make organizations more profitable? So, like, what do we do with that information? And that's just my natural ilk. And then I just, as part of my reimagining and my re-envisioning, I like to keep my brain active. I always say the Lord gives us all different gifts, and he might not have made me an athlete. He might not have made me a supermodel to walk down the runway, but I feel very blessed that I was given a curious mind and a mind that has the capacity to learn. So I think that's my duty in some ways. Oh, I said the word duty. It's my duty. It's my obligation to continue to learn and to challenge and to keep the old gray matter churning. Because I also feel, and to be honest with you, this isn't something that really ever struck me until other people said this to me. And this ties with your previous question. People said to me, other people are looking up to you. Other people are watching you. Young women in the profession are watching you. Young men in the profession are watching you. I don't want to make this a gender issue. And so you're a role model for other people. And I thought, I am. And I honestly, to this day, I'm just tootling along. I'm just me trying to, hiccups and all, not always being perfect, making my mistakes, doing my bobo, bouncing back. But when I realize that other people are looking and watching, and if I can be a positive influence for other people, well, then let me keep learning. Let me keep trying and encourage other people to do so. Because if we don't learn, well, what do they say? A rut is just a grave, but narrower, or not as deep.
Yeah, that's a great segue. You're speaking about yourself being a learner, but you've also described yourself as dedicated to illuminating pathways for more dynamic and inclusive opportunities, showing, the importance of protecting your energy while also serving others. So how do you proactively protect your glow while guiding others to shine just as brightly?
First step, and we chatted a little bit about this already, is trying to stay away from the negativity. We can doom scroll. We talk about doom scrolling, right? You've mentioned how we've connected online.
It's one of my hobbies, unfortunately.
It's your what's not the dirty little secret? What do they call it? Your guilty pleasure. That's
guilty.
Right. We all have our guilty pleasures. But look at we talk a lot. There's a lot of negativity, and the trolls will come for you online and all those things. And people warned me about that when social media first started. Like when I first started getting involved in Twitter, now X, LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram, mainly so I can stalk my children. Oh, sorry. Some people call it stalking. I call it a commitment to good parenting. We can use these tools. Look what it's done for you and I. Like, I feel so privileged to have connected with you and learned from you and all of the other people that we do so online. That's how you protect your glow, is the emotional vampires, the online vampires, they're there. And to say, oh, well, we're going to just say they're not there. No, you have to think, reflect, then eat a bunch of garlic and move on so that they never come back. Right? I love garlic. That's okay. But you protect your glow by then surrounding yourself by positivity. I think you also protect your glow, or I've done that, by listening to the critiques, the criticisms, the feedback, and processing it, because there are nuggets in there. There are nuggets. There are things I can do better. There are things I could have done better. And that helps me to learn and to grow. So by processing it and really taking those nuggets out of the feedback, even when it's not as positive as I always wanted or hoped it to be, that does protect my glow. because I take the time to process it and go, no, that was from someone I don't respect, or that's from someone I don't need, or that's just not me. Oh, but that's helpful. And it can help me improve. And with the view to always improving, at the same time, with the view to celebrate the wins and celebrate the good things in life. I used to always teach my students, we talk a lot about reward and recognition and employee engagement. I joke, do you know the word engagement has the word gag in the middle of it? Anyway, we have to be able to, we can't always rely on outside forces to celebrate us. I am so grateful and deeply honored, that I have literally fell into this profession. It was just such a blessing. And for any of the accolades that I've ever been given, boy, I appreciate them. And it's meant more to me than I can ever say. But I also appreciate that awards come and go. Here today, gone tomorrow, forgotten. Talking with somebody about legacy, and relevance. And it's not lost to me. I'm not on the edge yet, but, one day I won't be relevant. I understand that. And maybe I'm not as relevant as I'd like to, but what can I do now? What can I give back? That helps protect my glow and my desire. It's not for the awards. It's for what can I do? What is authentic to me? How can I tootle along? You even asked about being the first woman of color in different roles. When I first entered those roles, Kirsten, intersectionality, the first thing, though, that comes to mind for me always, even going forward, is it's me. It's me. And with me, and who knows yourself better than yourself, right? And I go, okay, with all my good things and all the things I can work on, then I start to think about, okay, what does this mean to me as a wife? What does this mean to me as a parent? What does this mean to me as an HR professional? What does this mean to me as a woman of color? Then it starts to go to, but when I first step in, it's me. It might sound so simplistic, but that's how I protect my glow too. It's me. I'm just going to try this as me. And then it rolls out. And I hope that helps to illuminate pathways for other people, because someone's got to go first. And, in business models, you think about companies that introduced a product or a service first, they rarely are the most successful. It's someone who comes along and copies, imitates, fixes, does a better job. And I think about that of even the different roles or just roles, jobs, leadership positions I've had, Kirsten. I would say that's a good analogy, because I will tell you, I've been far from the best. But my hope is that someone's got to do it first, and that there's amazing people that come next. Male, female, I don't care what religion, creed, gender identification, whoever comes next, if they can do better, and they do better, that's amazing.
I couldn't unmute myself.
You want my CPHR cup? You're on mute.
So I do need to say this, not to take us off track, but which I tend to do, take my own self off track. But I am so glad that we are actually speaking. I did not know you were so funny. That's online. You're always so you're about your business online, and I didn't know you were this funny.
Yeah, some of my students used to say I should be the HR comedian.
I think they have coined you properly. All right, so you did answer this question, my last question, the main section, a little bit, but I do want to give you an opportunity to give some more insights. What does catching your light mean to you at this stage in your journey? And then what advice do you have for someone who's also looking to catch their own? Hi, doggy.
Yeah, there's Dash. Everybody's met Dash who's seen different podcasts and things I've been on.
Yes.
Catching light. I remember when you sent me some communication and I wrote back to you saying, what a beautiful phrase even. Just, but when I thought deeply about this, it's hard to catch light, right? You can't catch light. Think about it, right? It's a nebulous concept. It's like the idea of, can you catch happiness? you chase something so long, and you're chasing something that is somewhat elusive. Whereas if you exist, one of my phrases I love to use is if you tootle along, I've used that already with you. And if you just continue to be your best, maybe the light starts to shine on you. And if you stop for a minute and reflect and think, or just, even if you're walking, light will often shine down on you. You haven't caught it. You've just done your best. You've lived your life, and the light comes to you. I think if you're trying to catch light, you could be on such a chase that you feel exhausted, you feel unfulfilled. You just feel like you're just not doing what you should be. Whereas if you don't focus on the light and you're moving along and you're achieving and you're giving back, the light is there and you'll feel the warmth of the sun. You'll feel the light of even inside light. And other people will comment, well, you look good in that light. Or I've had people say, come out of the darkness a little bit, come out of the shadows, own what you do. But it's by not focusing on the light.
I love that. I love that. That was, I love that.
Mic drop.
So I have my tambourine and I want to hit it, but it's too far away and I'll have to like reach over everything and I'll probably knock all my stuff down and then I'll get kicked offline. But so we're not going to do that. All right. It's time for rapid fire. Ooh, this is going to be good. Who is a well-known and or lesser known historical or contemporary figure who inspires you and we should learn more about?
So for those of you not familiar, of course, I'm a proud Canadian. You see my Canadian flag in the back. Those of you that have met me at conferences or events, I also got known to be the woman with the little Canadian HR pins that she's always giving away. When I travel internationally, I'm always giving away these pins. So the figure that I would invite other people to research and learn more about, if you don't know about this gentleman, Terry Fox.
Okay.
Now, Terry Fox suffered from cancer and lost his leg and began something called the Marathon of Hope. And he began running across Canada to raise money for cancer. He unfortunately never did complete the run because the cancer did claim his life. But to this day, we still have annual Terry Fox runs.
Oh, wow.
But when Terry started the run, he didn't do it to get his name known. This was in different days. There wasn't social media. There wasn't all of the online communication. He did it because this is what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And his legacy, his dedication to doing something for something bigger than himself. He could have been so morose, despondent, oh my gosh, I have cancer. Oh my gosh, I've lost my leg. What an inspiration to me for someone who took something so horrific and now he's left a beautiful, beautiful legacy. So Terry Fox.
I love it. And I will be looking up Terry Fox to learn more about him. What fictional character gives you a glimpse of yourself?
Yeah, I'm going to say, this is going to be a funny answer. Here we go.
Okay.
Maria von Trapp.
Really?
Trapp chat. Anybody that Maria von Trapp chat. Anybody that knows me knows I love The Sound of Music. It's my favorite movie. And oh look, I did jazz hands. I like her because she was, first of all, I love Julie Andrews as an actress. As I love her music, her singing. I'm jealous of her, envious of her beautiful voice and her talents. But Maria von Trapp, who wasn't fictional, she's not fictional. She's actually, so I've changed the question because she is based on an actual human being.
Okay.
When Maria von Trapp was interviewed while she was still alive, said, oh, that movie was, they took poetic and Hollywood license. Of course, have to do that for a movie. So she's not fictitious. So, okay, but I'm still choosing her.
Okay.
Because she just went in and did things, right? She had to take care of these kids and, she was in over her head, but she didn't give up. She was authentic.
I love it.
And she loved life and, she embraced challenges and she climbed mountains, literally, to get away from negativity.
Okay.
And to me, that's just inspiring. And heck, it's fun. And whenever you can break out into song, oh my gosh, wouldn't life be great if we could just break out into song whenever we wanted? Oh, mwah.
It would be, but I'm afraid that my mother would tell me to stop singing. So
Well, yeah. When I do sing in the house sometimes, and when my children who are all grown come back and visit, I'm so happy that they do, but they always like, Mom, no one's making you sing.
that's very rude. No one's making you sing.
No,
Yeah.
they say it's a kind of an inside joke. So
Yeah.
they're
Yeah. Okay. What is your favorite empowering quote?
yeah, it's a very cliche quote, but I love it. The Gandhi quote: "Be the change you
Okay.
want to see in the world." It's just such a powerful, powerful quote, and that really ties in, Kirsten, to our conversation that we've
Absolutely.
had. Right, just being authentic, living your life. I think what a quote also means to me is you don't have to overtly go, "Okay, how can I go change?" and how can I do? Think back to Terry Fox. Right, just do what you need to do, illuminate, be that role model, and then the world will change around you.
I
I'm
like
going to
it.
choose two quotes, though. This
Okay.
ties into lifelong learning. Live every day as if it was your last, and one day you'll be
Um,
right. Boom, boom. That's my show. That was me trying to be funny. Did I fail?
no, but I
It's
was,
supposed to be live every day as if it was your last. Learn every day as if you'll live forever. But
yeah.
that's the actual quote. But I always change it to live every day as if it was your last. And one day you'll be right.
Wow. Wow. I was not expecting that. Okay. If you could spend the day shadowing someone in a different profession from your own, who would it be? And what would you hope to learn from them?
So I'm not going to choose one specific person, but the profession that I would follow, and there's a few of them that I do follow online, is these travel YouTubers. I find
Oh,
them fascinating, the work they put out. It's a lot of work. People don't realize, but between the time you put something together, you do your editing, but you've got to line it up in advance. Like it's huge project management expertise
yeah.
combined with marketing, combined with constantly being, push, 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 while also entertaining and educating. So I'm not picking one in particular, although there's many that I follow. I follow some financial YouTubers, vloggers that
Yes.
are very astute. And so I would pick one of them and follow them around and just watch how they put it all together. I have such great
Oh, yeah.
admiration when it's done properly, professionally, and accurately, because there's lots of misinformation out there as well.
Yeah. I like that. You're the first person that gave that type of answer. Everyone always picks someone like very well known. And I appreciate that. What is your go-to songs, or music genre when you want to hype yourself up to conquer the day?
Okay, so we'll skip Sound of Music.
Okay.
I'm gonna choose an older song and a newer song. So, old school song, of course, LMFAO. Every day I'm shuffling, because every day I am shuffling. Like I love
Okay.
that. That song always gets me. I'm doing a little shout out to the ad people. You see the
Okay.
hamsters in the kiosk.
Party rock. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, Party
Shout out
Rock
to
Anthem.
Party
I love
Rock.
it, love it. And a more recent song that's really had a big uptake is Defying Gravity, right?
I
From
don't think, do
Wicked.
I know that? Oh, yes, I do. I was like, I don't know that.
And it's just like it's a powerful lyrics, but the music itself is beautiful, the tune, every but like aren't we all in some ways defying gravity? That yes, thankfully we're still planted on this planet, but our hopes, our dreams, our aspirations, we have to defy. Full circle, here we go. I didn't plan on this,
Yes.
but we're defying our boundaries
Yeah.
and our own expectations of ourselves.
All right. Okay. So maybe you'll remix what you just said, but what's the best piece of career advice you've received you would give to your early career self?
Two parts to this. You can tell I'm an academic case. You take the girl out of the university, but not the university out of the girl. Often when I get asked, what advice would you give your younger self? My first
Mhm.
answer is none. And people are like, what? Why would you say none? Because who would you be without your story?
Oh, wow.
Right? And if I had told myself certain things, would it have changed what I did and how, like, even the mistakes I've made, the hiccups, I have no regrets. I mean, there's often regrets, and I wish I'd treated someone better. I wish I'd been kinder. I wish I'd been more patient. Yes, I'm human. I have those regrets, but I don't have the big regrets because that formed my story. That formed who I am today. So if I had gone back and told my younger self something, and it could have inevitably, the butterfly effect, changed how I did things or where I ended up, no. So there's nothing. Now, that said, the best piece of early career advice I got, one of the senior VPs in the oil and gas company I worked at, and I had just been promoted over people that were much more senior than I was, and there was a bit of a kerfuffle. So he astutely talked to me, and he's talked to the other people, said, if you have any questions or concerns about this, you come and talk to me. There was a reason the executive team has decided to promote Melanie. You have any problems or issues, you come and talk to me. And to me, he said privately, let your work speak for itself. He said, don't go around and try and justify why we've promoted you. He said, there was a reason. And he said, and we promoted you because you can do this job. And you've proven you can do this. So let your work speak for itself. And that's never left me.
That is great advice. Let your work speak for itself. Okay, so you can't use the book that you've written, any of the books that you've already written.
What?
No, not for this. No. If you wrote a book describing your career so far, what would the title be?
Oh, I was going to add, that was the obvious answer, right? Exactly,
yeah.
Right. Okay, so now you got me started. If I wrote a book about my career so far, yeah, I'm not. I was going to say The Many Faces of Melanie. Do you remember the book, The Many Faces of Eve? That was about the woman who was, we don't want to do that. Over the Hills and Dales.
Okay, Sound of Music.
It's been like, oh no, okay. Why am I on this roller coaster when I didn't buy a ticket?
I like that. Okay, that's the one. All right, but speaking of books and things that are already completed, before I let you go, can you share any upcoming projects, initiatives that we should be on the lookout for? Tell folks where to find your book, where to get in touch with you, all that good stuff.
Thank you, Kirsten. So I am still reinventing and reimagining. Yes, I'm doing some consulting work, and I have a couple of projects that are in the hopper potentially. I am also still working on an next edition of my academic textbook, Understanding Human Resources Management, which is used at universities and colleges across Canada. So the next version is coming out early next year, but as you know, it takes time. And so we're still working on all of the resources that accompany that. So that's coming up in the next little bit. One of my very exciting personal projects is my daughter just became engaged, and she and my future son-in-law have asked me to be their wedding planner, which sounds funny, but I love that sort of thing, right? I have the time, capacity. I have coordinated corporate events of 300 plus people. Thankfully, they're having a micro wedding, so it won't be that complex. But so that's another personal project that people might see posts on LinkedIn, or maybe not LinkedIn, on X or on Instagram about. People have asked me. So yes, I'm going to do the shameless plug. HR Can Be Murder. Is there going to be a segue? What's happening to Tasha Martin? You asked me about a fictitious character that I can identify with. She is fictitious. People say, are you Tasha? No, I'm not Tasha. Tasha is an amalgamation of a whole bunch of different characters and maybe a little bit of me. Some people say they can hear my voice in the book. Kirsten, they see the funny parts too. It's funny. It's interesting that you mentioned that. They say, yeah, you can hear your humor come through. So right now there's no plan for HR Can Be Murder, the sequel.
Part 2. Okay.
Part 2. That's right. But I have some ideas. Anybody listening out there, Hallmark, Netflix, I think it would make an amazing movie. I'm throwing that out to the universe. It needs to be made into a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I just don't know. I'm also open. I'm exploring. We will see what the universe presents. But people can get in touch with me on LinkedIn. They'll find me under Dr. Melanie Peacock. I do post regularly. I am on Instagram at HR Peacock.
Okay.
I am on that X still at double M Peacock.
Yes.
And I love to connect with people. I feel we have such a great community. And let's learn, let's grow, let's evolve together.
Yes. All right. So, everyone, you heard it here. Thank you, Dr. Melanie Peacock, for spending time with me today in the future.
Yes.
And yes. And for anyone who does want to get in touch with her, please visit all the places she said. So, LinkedIn, just type in Dr. Melanie Peacock. If you don't know how to spell Peacock, I don't know what to tell you.
Birds, if you don't know
it's for the birds. I like that. It's for the birds. You can go to the artist formerly known as Twitter, X at @M Peacock. You can go to Instagram, HR Melanie, right?
HR Peacock.
HR Peacock. I'm sorry.
I gotta use the name, man. People will ask me, Kirsten, is that your real name? And I'm like, yeah, if I chose a name, if I made one up, I'd choose that. No, that's my real name, people. That's the name I was born with, and I'll wear it out as a peacock.
That could be your book, your next book, Proud as a Peacock.
I think that book's already out there. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Okay.
But you never know. It's all scheming, dreaming.
All right, there you go. All right, so you guys go check her out and then come back for another edition of Trap Chat, Summer Reset, owning your growth, your glow, and catching your light. Thanks for coming to Trap Chat, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Kirsten. Thanks, everyone.